There've been a couple of signings that the Manchester United fans have been really happy about. They've been really attacking signings. They're looking for goals. That was an issue last season. Have they got enough now in the squad to really improve from last season, and how far can it take them?
Yeah, I was thinking that before about Ekitike. We shouldn't take for granted what he's done in this last couple of weeks, that kid. He's 22 when we say that people need time to settle in. But there are a lot of very good players who've come into this league who've gone straight for it straight away and started scoring. And then Birmingham, Cunha, Sesko, a lot of eyes on them at Manchester United. I think Manchester United fans, including myself, are surprised that the club have gone and spent that level of money. We thought, obviously, after the Europa League final, that the money wouldn't be there at that level. So to get those three players who look like a really good profile, two of them have got Premier League experience. We need them to do well. We need those three players to do well, because the rest of the team, look, we need a goalkeeper. There's definitely, obviously, issues with the defence and midfield. But if the three strikers are a real handful and scoring goals, last season United's return in front of goal was really poor. So it's really important that Sesko and Birmingham Cunha get off to a really good start. We've seen a Liverpool striker do that tonight. There's no reason why United strikers can't go and do that on Sunday.
If they start, is it Sesko against Gyökeres?
I think it's fascinating, the fact that Ekitike, Wirtz, Pedro, Delap, Gyökeres, Sesko, these players all go into big clubs. How are they going to do? We're not quite sure, are we? Obviously, Ekitike tonight has given us a little bit of a glimpse of what he's like. But there is pressure on all those players to deliver for Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool. They have to deliver. The main man at City, obviously, Haaland, we know he's going to score goals. But who of those rest are going to emerge to become maybe a world-class player?
So what's a good season for Manchester United?
I think top six would be a good season. I think the four at the top, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, I think would be difficult to challenge, but they could slip into that space where Newcastle, Tottenham, Villa, other clubs are. So I think in that fifth place would be absolutely amazing. Realistically, I think it's probably going to be between sixth and eighth, but I think fifth is what they have to really target.
Aim for fifth and potentially end up between sixth and eighth. Do you think that's realistic for Manchester United?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people will look where they finished last season and say, oh, that's a huge jump. But then you think of some of the teams who were up in those positions all last season. Nottingham Forest were fighting relegation this season before. Brentford were up there for a lot of the season. Bournemouth were up there for a lot of the season. When you look at those teams and those squads, they haven't got better players than Manchester United. But I think the manager's still got a lot to prove. I do. I think he's had about 40 games now, which is a decent run, in terms of sort of trying to get his message across. And it didn't quite happen at all. I can't get that sort of, final out my head, really, about how poor they were in that game. So I think he's almost got a lot to prove as well, because Manchester United, no matter what set of players they've got on the pitch, they shouldn't finish, was it 15th that they finished last season? So Man United's squad of players and the expenditure, whoever the manager, that squad of players shouldn't be finished in that position. So I don't think 6th, 7th is completely, out of the question, because as I said, they've spent what they always do, 250 million in the summer.
Is there patience amongst the Manchester United fans,
skint,
or do they have to? They've saved a lot of money. Do they have to start fast?
No, United fans are patient in the sense that they turn up every single week, and they have done for 26 years without winning the league, and the stadium's full. They're incredibly loyal. They're very loyal also to their managers. They'll support Amorim. Sometimes they can get a little bit disillusioned with the players if they feel like that heart and that spirit and that fight's not there. I don't think you can say that in this last 12 to 18 months. That's not been the problem. I think the problem has been the quality. The lack of quality in terms of the players, particularly in forward areas, is just nowhere near good enough. Now, if they correct that and start scoring goals, you become obviously a lot harder team to beat. Yeah, there is a problem in central midfield. It doesn't look like Bruno Fernandes has got the right partner at this moment in time. And then obviously you've got the goalkeeper. So there's things that I think he'd still want to change. It's quite a unique system. I think it was always going to take some time to get used to it. I was hoping that, to be fair, I said at the time it would suit some of these players, give them a stronger base, because there isn't really a pair of centre-backs there that can play in a 4. So I thought it would suit them, but it didn't do, and it ended up being a real sort of challenge for them. They've looked better in pre-season. The fans will always be patient, but I think that ultimately they need to get a decent start, and they've got a few tough fixtures in this first few games. I actually feel quite confident about them on Sunday. I think they'll give a really good performance. I think it's a big day. And Arsenal, Arsenal have got to go and win. I agree with Jamie. I think Arsenal are the team really that have got to go and challenge Liverpool this season.
Yes, what a blockbuster to start for both these clubs. And as I mentioned, both desperate to start the season. Manchester United, some strong words there from Bruno Fernandes and from Ruben Amorim. Almost wanting to forget last season
I bet they do.
ever happened. Realistically, from where they are, their worst season, 73-74, where can they go this season? I've seen some people this week tipping them 5th, 4th even.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they possibly could.
No
They
European
possibly could be
distraction.
they possibly could get European football. I mean, they can't, mix it with the big boys. Let's say they've got no chance of getting in there with the Liverpools.
Do you like their recruitment?
Yeah, I think it's probably wise to recruit at that end of the pitch. I mean, they didn't create much. Certainly didn't score many, and haven't for a while. Didn't really excite going forward, and they've got numbers in midfield and at the back for that matter. So I think if they were going to invest, then I think it was the right area to do. Yeah, and it is. It's a total change, isn't it? Total sea change in terms of the players. I like Cunha. I think he's very, very good. I have a couple of little question marks. That type of player caused a little bit of trouble at Wolves. I just think Manchester United might put manners on him. It's a big club. You can't, walk in and all of a sudden start throwing your arms around and, grabbing people after games and getting sent off. And
well,
things
others
like that.
have in the old culture, but this is Ruben Amorim now putting his stamp with his first pre-season on it.
Yeah. No, I do like him, and I think he could be a good signing as long as mentally he's right. Mbeumo, proven Premier League, scoring goals. So, yeah, and obviously the new centre-forward, we'll see how he does. He's quite new to it. But, yeah, I like what I've seen. I mean, they simply cannot be as bad as they were, can they? So it's just how high they can climb. And if they can get a 6th or a 7th place in the league, then that's good progress, and then they can build from there.
We watched them in the summer series. What do you think?
I think 6th or 7th. I think that's realistic. In the middle of the area, in the middle of the pitch. They've got bodies there. I think the recruitment in the summer's been good. Cunha, I like Cunha. I think in terms of his temperament, I think he would understand that. This is a massive football club. From where we come from, it's a massive opportunity, a privilege to play for Man United. And Mbeumo, I was lucky enough. I went into Brentford last season, so I saw him, spoke to him. Good professional, wants to learn, spends a lot of time doing a lot of finishing, wants to score goals. So 2 good signings, and I just felt like they needed that, because I felt there was too many occasions last season where, over the years we're so used to seeing Man United score a lot of goals, and all of a sudden, went for a team that didn't even look like scoring. So the fact that they've brought in these 2 players, that can make the difference at the top end of the pitch was 2 big signings.
Now, on the subject of big signings and centre forwards, Gyökeres in from Sporting Lisbon for Arsenal. Is that the missing link? They certainly hope it is. Is it as simple as that for Arsenal, do you think, Maka?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is he going to be good enough to drive Arsenal forward to the Premier League? He was at Coventry before he went to Sporting. He did excel at Sporting. You almost felt that Gyökeres wasn't the player they wanted in that number 9 area. It was somebody else, I thought. They eventually brought Gyökeres in. Time will tell. Time will tell. I think the recruitment around, Zubamendi, Madueke, Norgard, they're the type of players that I thought have bolstered the squad. Gyökeres should score goals because Arsenal create lots of chances. Is he going to be good enough individually? We saw Ekitike tonight. He looks like a really good player already. Is he going to be that link-up play? But they have got Havertz and they've got Gabriel Jesus to come back as well. So maybe they'll get away with it. I don't know whether he is top quality number 9 yet. I need to see him in a Premier League environment, in a scenario. I saw Darwin Núñez. I saw Gonzalo Ramos for Benfica. They haven't hit the heights. I don't know whether Gyökeres is going to be like that, just under top quality, or whether he's going to really, really excel. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in an Arsenal shirt. I really am. Yeah. But Gyökeres or Sesko, it was a toss of a coin. We'll wait and see who's going to be the best out of them.
Has there ever been a player that's come over to the Premier League and had so much pressure on them? That position, they've been desperate for years and years and years. Not only that, he goes and asks for number 14 as well.
Yeah.
So he's got Thierry's number. I mean, talk about pressure. In any way, everywhere you look, Arsenal fans are desperate for a goal scorer. They've got one, no question about that. 50-something goals that season, incredible. So they've got someone that can score the goals, but wow, the pressure on him is immense.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think, there's question marks about him.
Yeah.
You look at Ekitike that comes in today for Liverpool, it's almost like the last thing you think of is pressure, don't you? He's just sort of, well, there's other massive signings around. There's no huge, but wow, down at Arsenal, it's
He's the
almost
main
like
one,
he
isn't he?
is the missing link.
Yeah.
And if he's good, then they can win it. If he's not, they're not going to win it.
And
It's a massive pressure.
funny enough, he scores all these goals in the Portuguese league. But I was at the game where Arsenal played Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, and Arsenal went over and battered them, and he never got a kick. And you think to yourself, you wonder what's changed, to whoever's choosing the players at Arsenal, the sporting director, etc., or whether it's Mikel. You wonder what they've seen that they've gone, you know what? He's the one. He's the one we're going to pin all our hopes on. Because it's not Zubamendi or Marino or Declan Rice. It's the number 9, unfortunately, because that's their miss. And they've chosen Gyökeres, so huge amounts of pressure on them.
We shall see how they start on Sunday. On Saturday.